There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of a Nephilim. All this week, we're going to be presenting in very short segments an interview I did with Wayne and Kat, husband and wife. They live in the middle of nowhere on 40 acres. Their nearest neighbor is like 1.5 miles away. They have had encounters with Sasquatch. And the reason why I'm doing this is I will be at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival in Ohio on Friday. I'm the keynote speaker. I'm speaking in the evening. I believe it's at 5:30 or 7:30. I'm not sure which. But if you go to Hocking Hills Bigfoot, you will see the schedule, and yours truly is there. Peggy, of course, my wife will be there with me. We'll be selling all of our books and DVDs. Hope to meet a lot of you who are in the area. Please come out. It's always great to meet folks and get a face with an email. But I will be speaking on Bigfoot, and so the rest of the week we're going to be talking about GLAD and other Bigfoot encounters that Wayne and Kat have had together. You'll find this absolutely intriguing. And you know what? I'm a student of body language, and so I watch them like a hawk. They're telling the truth. You can think whatever you want to, but these folks are telling the truth. They've had an encounter, and I believe not only is Bigfoot real, there are good and bad ones. Are they descendants of a Nephilim? Very possibly. I'm still kind of weighing in on all the evidence. Anyway, we'll see you on the other side and we'll get into that. But first, a word from our sponsor. Hey folks, how about this? Noble Gold, one of the sponsors of our show, has just been picked by Consumer Affairs, the rating agency, as the overall #1 gold IRA company in the United States. How about them apples? Talk to the team today if you're thinking about precious metals. And if you're quick, they're giving away an incredible 1/10 of an ounce American Eagle gold-proof coin with every qualifying IRA or 401k rollover. Folks, you can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call the team now, 877-646-5347. That's 876-646-5347. Or to find out more, please visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Once again, noblegoldinvestments.com. We'll be running this all week long right here, and I hope to see you in Hocking Hills. We're on a plane on Thursday, very early in the morning. So all of this is a pre-record, but we're carving it up into 4 different segments. I think you'll find it fascinating. Here's the interview.
If they was going to harm me or hurt me, they would have already done it. I have slept many times with the windows open and unarmed, and they've never harmed. They've never harmed me at all. And they are connected to Yahweh, and they give commands, and they do know who is connected with God and who isn't by the aura of light. It's not a third eye. It's something God opens up. It's what the Holy Spirit opens up and being baptized and sealed by Him. Them's the ones that they gravitate towards and take care of.
Wayne, let me ask you something. Let me ask both of you this. And I'm going to circle back to GLAD. I mean, I could keep you guys here all afternoon. You know, you talked about a 14.5-foot huge. I mean, I was talking to Jeannie Moore, and Jeannie Moore said that they are descendants of Esau, which this is Tim Alberino's wheelhouse, you know, because it talks about, you know, Esau was a hairy man. What does that mean? So is Esau some sort of a hybrid that we don't, I mean, what's the connection there as far as you guys know?
Well, I was believing that before.
We told Jeannie that.
Yeah, that's what we had told Jeannie. But the more I dig into it and a lot of prayer and a lot of research, because, you know, in these days, we're hungry. We want to know more about what God has and what's going on so that we don't make a big mistake and end up shortening our string before we end up ending our race, you know. I want to finish the race that God has for us. And one of those things is the things that's coming on this earth. They're here to protect those ones who are not quite, they're still struggling and don't know what's going on, especially after, when this tribulation comes. They're keeping these things at bay. These Nephilim forces that's actually coming
on the earth.
Yeah, coming on the earth. And I have been protected from them many times, and they're just, the love they have for you is different than the love from someone else. They can't lie. It's just like Glag with Kevin. He found him. His family had gotten killed by some hunters he came in from New York and killed him and killed his California. Yeah. It killed him, and he had no one. So Kevin, he had already fixed him a stand. He had already killed him a deer with his bow, and he hung it up. He kept hearing something jumping up, trying to get it. He had it 30 feet up in the tree. He couldn't believe it. What the world's going on? He come out with his underwear and his socks. What's going on? And both of them's eyes got big and turned, and the Glag turned and ran, and then he turned and ran and went back up in it. What did I just say here? But eventually, if you know the story, it eventually comes to him, and it ends up taking care of him in a way, just going to seeing him every weekend for 5 years. What?
They took care of each other.
Yeah, they took care of each other, and he saved Kevin's life quite a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, for those of you who are watching this, that we have two witnesses here. And the Bible tells us, the guidebook of the supernatural tells us everything by two witnesses. We have two witnesses, and Kevin is the third witness. So Kevin took you actually met Glad with Kevin.
Montana, right. We were on our honeymoon. We went to Montana, and
of course, where else do you go on a honeymoon?
on a Bigfoot expedition, LA. That's what
of course you did.
And so we actually rode up with Kevin. We drove up, and of course it was my truck, but Kevin had to drive. So we went up to Montana, met up with a group at Coloma, Montana, which is a ghost town, and not a real ghost town, So that with a group of people, and that night he came up and he said, "Hey, do y'all want to meet Glag?" We're like, "Yeah."
Oh, yeah.
So he had already hooked up with them. So we walked down the road, and he was up on the hill with his family. So it was he looked like a tree. He was so big. He was huge.
He knew Kevin was going to be there by listening to the other Squatch at a talk show that's called Lady in the Woods, and they heard all of that through and communicate just like we do by cell phone, but they do it another way, telepathically, and they can, once all of them know, they all know everything pretty much, and God set it up that way. Well, he knew that we were going to be at this specific spot, and he met us there from Idaho over into Montana.
So what was it like? I mean, I can't even, I'd give anything. Well, not anything, but I mean, not my salvation.
No.
Yeah.
Kind of like this, you see the goosebumps?
Yeah.
That's what it was like when it was like, oh my gosh. And it was just like it was such a deep love. You could just feel it. Like he really loved this man because he took care of him in his time of need. You could really feel that love.
Yeah.
It was.
What was it like? I mean, okay, so let's walk through this. So you're with Kevin, Glad's on the hill. Did you walk to him? Did he come to you? How did that work?
No, he stayed about 10 yards from us, and you could see him crouched down, and then
Right.
They said, "You want to see him?" He said, "I see." We both said, "Yeah." He said, "I ain't glad you could stand up." He stood up. He just kept standing up, and all you seen was he was almost as wide as he was tall, and I'm talking like somewhere between 5,000, 6,000 pounds. Because when you see something like 7 to 7.5 foot wide at the shoulders, and then it's just that face he has, it was him. I mean, he just like Kevin said, in the renditions of his face, it was exact. But he had some scars and he had a lot of gray hairs. But he's a big boy.
But by this time, he was a grandfather.
Yeah, he had 21 in his family, and he showed him to Kevin, but we did show him to us. But we did get to meet Glad.
You know, folks, Bigfoot is real, in my opinion. Sasquatch is real. Native Americans have known about them for years. Are they descendants of a Nephilim? Very possible. Are they some sort of a skunk ape or a primate, an unknown primate in America? Very possibly. We don't know. So the jury is still out, and I'll be presenting both sides of evidence of what I believe are real pictures of this so-called creature. It's got an elongated skull, which we've seen right behind me. So something's going on here, and we're not going to get to the bottom of it anytime soon, but I do find it fascinating. So Monday, we're on the trail of a Nephilim in Ohio. We might be bringing you special footage of that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You got a team of people coming in. Our film crew is coming in to film, and we'll be filming at several sites. I think you'll find that interesting. And we might be giving you little snippets of that next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I'm basically out in the field for about 10 days. Thanks so much for watching On the Trail of a Nephilim. Remember, you can download all of our series 1 through 7 by going to streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net. Thanks so much for watching.